Hi everyone, welcome to Ashirali and welcome to a podcast kind of video with us today. Today we are going to talk about emotional eating, something which is so close to my heart. This is a topic that I really wanted to talk about for so many years, and finally, since I have this YouTube channel and I have my friend over here, Shradha, who I've known since college, and she is a nutrition coach, and I thought I should make the best use of this opportunity, get Shradha over here and talk about emotional eating. But before we get into that, Shradha, just introduce yourself to the audience here and tell them what you do and yeah, what do you do?
So, hi everyone, I'm a nutrition coach, as Shirali mentioned, and I work a lot with emotional eating, overeating, compulsive eating. So, a lot of eating challenges which people face, also with weight loss, with plant based eating. So, basically, it's a holistic approach where it's not just a standard diet plan, but it's more about looking at what are the factors which are causing these challenges, what are one's goals right for one's body, and how do we work together towards them. So here, as Shirali mentioned, emotional eating is a very important topic which I feel is not discussed enough in today's times, and I think it's really important that we start right away and talk about how we can find a solution to this problem, which I'm sure most people face but are ashamed to talk about it, or don't know where to start, or don't know where to seek help.
And that's so true, like you said, being ashamed to talk about it, right? So I have an history of emotional eating, and it started somewhere around the time I hit puberty, and it continued for a very long time. And I've been through different phases in my life. So I've been through emotional eating where I've been eating a lot of sugar, and a part of so I used to crave eating something sweet or sugar or something like that, and I used to just sneak into the kitchen to get something sweet to eat. But I would try to compensate for that by not eating food at all during the day. Then I've been through a phase where I stopped eating food at all, which I later on got to know is something kind of on the lines of anorexia, where I just stopped eating food and I started feeling so guilty about eating anything at all that, I just stopped putting food into my mouth. So my relationship with food was not healthy until yoga came into my life and until I really started understanding holistic nutrition and eating holistically. And even today, sometimes I feel there are some triggers which push me towards emotional eating. And it'll be nice if we can, like dig deep into this topic because, like you said, people really feel ashamed about talking about it, as well as there are so many factors, I think, that push you towards emotional eating, right? Um,
Yeah, like you said,
yeah.
most people might think that, oh, I'm an overeater, or this is my problem. I have a willpower problem. I know what I should do, but I just don't do it because they feel that they lack that willpower, and some other people have that willpower. So then it leads to a cycle of more self-hate, a lot of judgment, a lot of self-harm, which is definitely not healthy for the body. Any kind of unresolved emotional issues, any kind of undigested past experiences get stored in the body, and they show up as symptoms, they show up as triggers. They can lead one to eat compulsively, eat emotionally, and find comfort, seek comfort in food, because food is not going to talk back. Food is not going to do anything to you. It's just
Correct.
there, and it gives you that temporary sense of satisfaction, that kick, where you don't have to think about anything else, where you don't need to do anything else about maybe the issues that you're having in other areas of your life. So it's surprising when I tell people that there are a lot of factors which need to be considered here. So one is, see, when you eat compulsively or you have a binge, it's the body's way of correcting itself, actually, because it is deficient in certain nutrients. So maybe your body lacks protein, or maybe you've been avoiding carbs totally, so your body lacks that energy. Maybe your body lacks essential fatty acids, and so when it finds that opportunity, there is a binge, there is overeating, because the body is trying trying to correct itself in
Yeah.
what it's lacking. So it's very important to check, is your macronutrient balance okay? That is the proteins, fats, carbohydrates, and yes, water as well. Are you having it in the right proportion? Then you also need to check that what is the quality of the food you're eating. Is it processed, and is it fresh, is it whole food, and all those things, how the food was stored, how is it prepared, your environment, who supports you in the environment you live in, whom do you eat with, how do you eat, and also what you think about your own body, your body image. So most of the time, we imagine ourselves in a totally different way than how we appear to others maybe, and it may not be realistic for the most part. So often that can also lead to disembodiment. So when we are not here in the present, in this present moment, in the now, we are disembodying, we are not embodying, and that can affect our metabolism, that can lead to weight gain. Also the stress you're facing, so maybe you're stressed about money, maybe there's stress in some other relationships in your life, maybe you have a lot of you have a feeling of a void somewhere in your life, that maybe something is missing but you don't know what to do about it. So then food becomes an escape, food becomes a way to deal with those issues. Also, are you skipping meals? So what is your rhythm? So if you're skipping meals, then you're obviously prone to eat more at the next meal when you eat.
Right. And that's such an interesting thing that you said about skipping meals, right? And binge eating at the next meal that you eat. I've met people in the past, now that I've also been coaching people with yoga, and I've met young girls and they tell me, they're like, no, but I want to skip meal. I skip my breakfast or I skip my lunch so that I lose weight. Or
So that they can eat more, or if they feel they're going to eat a pizza
yeah,
or something, they feel they need to earn those calories, or they need
correct,
to burn off what they eat.
yeah,
But food is not the enemy, appetite is not the enemy. Appetite is natural. Your body needs calories, your body needs energy. Even if you don't work out, there are certain basic functions for which your body needs all the nutrients, and it needs nourishment, it needs care, it needs love. So you cannot keep starving yourself and hating yourself into becoming thin or reaching whatever ideal of perfection you have. I think all of us need to realize that this toxic conditioning by the media needs to be thrown away, and we need to see that what is realistic. We need to let go of this idea of perfectionism and
true,
toxic nutritional beliefs that if there's fat in the food, it will make me fat, or if only I were thin, all my problems would be solved, or food is my enemy, and I just don't, if I could get by not eating or eating less and exercising more, then that is the key to everything, which is so wrong. And I would like to say that once one approach does not fit all, everyone is unique, everyone's microbiome is unique. So the bacteria in your gut, that is unique for each one of us. So we need to understand how our body feels, what it responds to, what it craves. We need to enjoy our food. You need to have pleasure from food, because if you desensitize yourself, if you're not getting pleasure from food, then you're obviously going to overeat in some other area. You're going to compensate at some other time.
and that makes so much sense because for me, I felt, for the longest time that eating ghee or eating some kind of fat is going to make me fat until I started including ghee in my diet. And that's when actually that really helped my digestion. That helped me in so many ways. Just adding ghee to the diet, in fact, it didn't make me fat, but it made me stronger. It made my body more supple, more flexible, and it added so much nutrition to my diet. But just changing that mindset that food is not the enemy, and changing this whole media, the thing, like you said, like media keeps pushing different content into your head that this is good and this is not good, makes such a difference. And here I also want to talk beyond media, even people around us and the environment around us sometimes kind of pushes us towards emotional eating. It can be some kind of family issues, it can be work, it can be stress about, say, your grades, your marks, or your work, or something on those lines. I'm sure even for the younger audience, for them, it would be studies. For the older audience, it can be office or
even
anything.
your approach, your take on sexuality,
Yeah,
and your personal intimate relationships,
yeah,
or all of
yeah.
that can create a lot of low level stress,
That's a good
which
point. Yeah.
can always be there without you realizing it, and
True.
that can lead to your metabolism getting affected, your hormones getting affected, and that can lead to weight gain. So it's definitely, a complicated, intricate pattern of things, and not just, one thing that, okay, I need to stop this and then this will happen.
Right. I have another thing here. So when we do end up doing emotional eating, at least for me, I end up going and having foods like pizzas or pastries or something sweet or something fried. Is that a normal thing for most people, or
Yeah, it is a normal thing, probably because the body is craving that, and sometimes the body craves the opposite of what it actually needs. So your body might not need that per se, but
Okay.
you tend to crave that, maybe because you're not receiving that satisfaction from the other foods that you're eating, or maybe because mentally you've demonized these foods, that I shouldn't have them, I can't have them, and so it becomes that in the mind that, okay, these are forbidden. So
Since they're forbidden,
yeah,
you start craving them more.
yeah.
And since we are all rebels since birth, that's what we all do as human beings. That's such an interesting point. So that now brings us to, so we understood the concept of emotional eating, but I from my perspective, again, I'm going to talk from an NLP perspective, figuring out what is the trigger, what is actually causing the emotional eating, and work on that stress point, whatever it may be. Maybe you're stressed about studies, maybe you're stressed about your work, maybe it's some family issue, and try to work around that. But at the same time, if you still get triggered and you want to eat something like a pastry or a pizza or whatever, this is something that I do. I try to say, if I'm craving for a pastry, I'll try to go and have a banana, which is still sweet, which still has the same kind of calories or the same kind of thing. And if it satiates me, then I don't need to eat the pastry, and that's good enough for me. This is something that I do.
So
I don't know
yeah,
if it's
I
right or
would
wrong.
like to add another point here,
Yeah.
that before you binge, before your body binges, it goes into an acidic state.
Okay.
So, and obviously the foods you eat are more acidic, so it always helps to put the body into an alkaline state sometime before, so that you feel less of an urge to binge, or you end up eating lesser than you would
Okay.
expect yourself to eat. So things like miso broth, vegetable broth, or herbal teas, all of these really are alkaline and they soothe the body, so they make you feel a little more balanced. And also another thing, if you really want to binge, you have a craving, you want to eat a particular thing, it's fine, just make it a ritual, go ahead, enjoy it, but do it with more awareness, with more consciousness.
Okay.
Do it in a proper slow manner. You can set a time for it, you can set a date for it, and you will notice that when you bring your awareness to it, you do it in a more deliberate manner, you are unable to do it as unconsciously as you used to do it before. So earlier, while you
Right.
would just do it in a very
Yeah.
rushed manner, here, since you're allowing yourself to do it, you're looking at it as a ritual which you're honoring, and you're doing it in a more slow manner, then you'll see that it changes. It definitely changes something in you.
Okay. I think that makes so much sense, because that's again something that I've been doing unconsciously since I've gotten out of this kind of emotional eating phase. Every time I sit to eat anything, it can be just a fruit or any food, I'll always close my eyes for a second and say this thing, that thank you so much for this food which is kept in front of me today. Thank you for all the nutrients my body is going to absorb from this food. And thank you for everybody involved in sending this food to my plate. So it can be someone who's grown the food. Imagine how many people are involved for you to eat that one thing that you're eating, be it a banana or a cookie. Someone's, worked in a farm which has then transported to a particular place, which has then been either packaged or made for you, and which has then come on your plate, and someone has also earned that money, you or someone in your family. And imagine the amount of hard work and effort that has gone into sending that food on your plate, and I thank everybody involved to do that. When I do that, the relationship with food completely changes, because now I'm eating more consciously, like you said, and that makes a huge difference. This is something that I do, and if you want to do, I'll put the line somewhere around here so you can read it, or maybe in the description so you guys can read it if you want to follow that. But this is something that I do.
Yeah.
to kind of improve my relationship with what I'm eating.
Yeah, that's very important, and so many different traditions have also this practice of a prayer before food or just gratitude before you sit down for a meal. That definitely works wonders as it generates a lot of positive energy inside the body. Also, it would help to not think of yourself in negative terms, like not say I'm an overeater, I always do this. Instead of saying that, try to change the narrative. So try to say that I'm learning how to be more aware of my patterns. I'm learning to listen to the wisdom of my body, and I'm trying to be more aware. So that changes things again, because then you don't feel guilty. You don't bring in or perpetuate that cycle of the relationship you had with food earlier, and you learn to accept things as they are, to be okay with what is, and you're honoring the symptoms. It is there for a reason, so it's allow it to teach you what it needs to teach you. So it also helps if we make a list or an inventory of things that we try to control in life, the things we want to do or we wish to achieve in life, and the things we desire. So when we make a list of these things, we reflect on it, we come to know that, okay, what are the areas in our life where I feel I'm missing something or I need to work on more. And so we shift the focus from instant gratification from food to something else which we can work on in our lives. Also, sometimes for some people it helps that when they get this urge to eat something and to constantly keep snacking even though they are not hungry, then it helps to replace it with either talking to a friend, going out for a walk, or doing something like some artwork, listening to music, writing, journaling. So all these things can work as helpful aids and tools which can maybe distract you for a moment. Sometimes the easiest thing to do is to just sit with your craving, just sit with it for 5 minutes, taking a few deep breaths and allowing it to pass. And many people have told me that it actually does work, though it might seem a bit painful and you might be in tears that, no, I really want that cupcake, but over time it will pass. You will not feel that strong urge anymore.
I think that's awesome. That's great advice. I'm going to use that. But I have one last question here. So there's something that I've heard from a lot of people where they say the signal for thirst and hunger, people can get confused with that. Is that true?
Yeah, they can get confused with that. So I would say you can sip a little bit of warm water, and sometimes that will help you realize that is your previous meal fully digested or not? Are you really hungry or no? And it also helps in terms of aiding your metabolism. So it always helps, but yes, liquid solid should not be mixed together. So you don't need to drink a lot of water just before you start eating, or eat along with when you're drinking too many fluids. So always keep a gap of at least 30 minutes between the liquid and the solid part of your meal.
True. Okay. Yeah, cool. So I think that's also another thing that I do. Like you also mentioned, I think drinking some kind of herbal tea or water when I feel that craving, I try to do that. And if I still feel like I want to eat, say, a muffin or a cookie, especially if I'm down or lower stressed, then I would go ahead and eat the muffin, because then I know that my body probably is signaling me to eat it, and it's
Yeah.
fine. But if that craving kind of goes down, then it goes down, and it's
Yeah,
okay.
so I think the key is also the timing, that it's obviously not when you're very stressed or frustrated or tired, but it's more a little before that, or maybe through the day. So you establish a healthier routine, a healthier pattern, and you're more conscious of it, so that you fortify yourself in some way from these habits, and you're able to break free from them after understanding them.
True. And that's so important. The last thing that she said, after understanding them, I feel from my perspective, that's something that I would add on, because a lot of times we don't go deep into why we are doing what we are doing, or why we are emotionally eating. So, really understand where this is coming from and why you're doing that. And maybe somewhere down the line, just understanding why you're doing it can help you actually get out of it. That's the first step. And just keep persevering and you'll be out of emotional eating and out of that particular issue also that you're going through if
Yes,
you're out of
and
emotional
also
eating.
don't be afraid to seek professional help. Don't think that
Absolutely.
it's nothing, or how can I talk about this, or who will I ask? I mean, there are a lot of professionals these days everywhere, and read up about it. And it is a real thing. It is something which needs to be addressed. So I'm sure you all can find ways and means to come out of it. And remember to love yourself through the process and through this journey, and
True.
keep your expectations realistic. Don't get frustrated if you feel nothing is changing initially. Over time, it definitely will. When there's awareness, when there's transformation, I think that is the best strategy possible to correct any imbalance.
That's true. So we're going to end with that and professional help for sure. I'm going to link both of our accounts, my Instagram, Shradha's Instagram, in the description. We are always available for your help. But also, if you know of someone at close to you whom you want to talk to, you should. And that is the first step. I feel if you can take professional help, you definitely should reach out to people who can help you out, because there should not be any shame around emotional eating or any kind of stress related issue for that matter. I feel that stigma now is the time for us to move beyond the stigma and really find a solution to these problems that we are facing as a modern urban population.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Shirali, for bringing this topic up and for allowing me to share my views on it. So it's been great, and I hope you all find this helpful. Yeah, thank you.
I hope you find this helpful. Thank you so much, Shraddha. She's done a huge amount of research to kind of answer all these questions that we had. So thank you for all of that. Thank you for all the sharing and knowledge today, because I really appreciate it, and I hope you guys also do too. Do like the video if you liked it, and subscribe to our channel if you want to hear more self-development topics. Also give some love to Shraddha on her Instagram page, and we'll see you again with yet another video next week. Not soon, next week. All right.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.